Everyone in Canada is about to learn a lesson about why unions are important, all right? And to summarize it, unions are important because fascist and tyrannical leaders only listen when you switch the money off. When you switch the economy off, that's the only way they listen. Nothing else. No other moral support, no other protest is going to make a difference. You switch the money off. Watch very closely to what's happening in Alberta, all right? The teachers were on strike for weeks. And then Danielle Smith used the notwithstanding clause to force them back to work after weeks of not even negotiating with them, basically treating them with disrespect, and now she's forcing them back to work. And this would be the end of the story if there weren't other unions in other provinces. So Gil McGavin posted a tweet saying that they're going to have an emergency meeting with the rest of the unions in Alberta, but also the Canadian Federation of Labour and the Ontario Federation of Labour. So they're coordinating action between all the different unions in all the different provinces across the country to have a unified strike to shut the economy down so that these people like Danielle Smith listen. And they know it works because they did something similar in 2022 against Uncle Doug Ford. It worked in 2022 because he backtracked after the economy shut down. Right? So you need to see this in action. And today on Wednesday, I believe they're going to have a joint press conference. They're going to announce how they're going to have these coordinated strikes. And those strikes are important even if you don't work for a union. All right. Even if you're not a union employee, like I am not a union employee, it's important for me because I want to live in a country where a middle class exists. And the middle class gets completely eviscerated if you don't have enough of unions, which you can see in America. They don't have enough of unions like this. So their middle class is getting squeezed. You want people to make a decent living, being teachers, firefighters, and medical nurses, basically. So that you can make, if you own a business, that's where the money is going to come to you from, all right? Bill Gates is not going to come and eat pizza in your pizza joint. It's going to be a middle-class teacher making a good income who's going to come and eat pizza at your pizza joint, essentially. And for those of you who are anti-union, who do not believe this should exist, tell me why capitalists can organize. Like, I am a shareholder in multiple companies. If I own shares in Berkshire Hathaway, I can turn up for Woodstock for Capitalists, the shareholder meeting that Warren Buffett holds every year in Omaha, Nebraska. Capitalists can get together and they can make a vote about who should be the CEO and what should happen to the company and what should happen with compensation. Capitalists can get together. Why can't labor? Why shouldn't labor have the same right to come together and coordinate action to enrich their lives? So keep a close eye on what's happening in Alberta because it impacts you. And this might be the key to making some of the worst provincial leaders we have, including Uncle Doug Ford and Danielle Smith, to come to snap out of it, essentially. Right? This might be the only lever we have to push them into stopping their destructive forces. You should also note that the federal government has a role to play, and the Carney administration is actively seeking a Supreme Court decision on how the notwithstanding clause can be used. They're trying to limit the scope of the notwithstanding clause so that it can't be abused this way, so that provincial leaders can't just ignore laws whenever they feel like. So keep a close eye on that Supreme Court decision as well, and I hope we get good results in both the strikes as well as the court decision by the end of the year.